My fellow Jedi and Padawans, let me tell you about a juicy Ophidia Spathe build for our Solar Hunter that my boy Cameron led me onto. With our scissor fingers for our exotic perk, we gain a second knife charge. Also, getting final blows with a throwing knife grants consecutive knives a temporary stacking bonus damage. Gambler's Dodge refreshes this timer, so obviously we're going to be using Gambler's Dodge, and the stacking damage is super good in my opinion, stacking up to almost double what a normal throwing knife does, so about 100%, 125% extra damage from the stacking of all of those throwing knife defeats. So starting us off with our mods, tell me the drip on my last couple builds just hasn't been fire. I may be delusional, but I think they've all been looking super good. Ophidia Spathe, like I said, with fingers crossed, we gain that second knife charge, and final blows in consecutive fashion give us the bonus damage, stacking up to that 125% of what it used to be, so about double. For our mods, armor resistant, totally up to you. I say this in a lot of my videos. Love having on the armor. You could go with charged up, but you could stack these up for triple depending on what you're going into. 2 and 1, definitely staying alive in that end game content. As for our mods elsewise, we got Solar Stasis Siphon on this bad boy with hands on, of course, so we can get back our super very quickly with this build, since we're gonna have our throwing knife up all the time. Now we're getting powerful friends as well to spread the love of armor charge, with heavy handed to create orbs of power, so we're getting super as well as orbs of power on those melee defeats. We're going to be using focusing strike, so we get our class ability pack when we do damage with our melee. Since we have that up, allows us to have a Gambler's Dodge up at all times basically, as well as have those double melees up at all times, with impact induction causing damage with our melee gives us our grenade. So as to that point as well, we're using incendiary, so we're going to be spreading Scorch and Ignitions literally everywhere with this build. Moving on to our boots, we got the Solar Weapon Surge for our 2 solar weapons, giving us that 17% increase, with giving us a little bit of health via recuperation. 1 single bomber with time dilation, powerful attraction. Time dilation allows the surge to last longer, with powerful attraction every single time that we dodge, since we're going to have Gambler's Dodge up a decent amount. With the double melee and all the orbs of power, all of those come right to us, allowing us to get our super back even faster, and then bomber to get back our grenade, since we got that 100 discipline, 100 resilience on this build. As for weapon options, we got 2 in our kinetic slot. The new Pacific Epitaph, which is a stasis waveframe. I'm a waveframe nerd. Definitely have some better rolls out there, but this one, as you can see, still got 111 defeats with it. Very fun waveframe. You could go with the trusty dusty with Riptide, or one of the other fusion rifles that have chill clip. Totally up to you. Now for me, using the Sunshot, definitely the best solar weapon that we have this season, specifically with the Sunblast, the explosive rounds, the spreading, the Scorch, everything like that. Now we're going to be using fixed odds on this for the moment because of incandescent spreading that Scorch around, but I do want to get a God Roll Avalanche from the Dawning, which is going on, or maybe it just finished depending on when I'm able to get this video out, but it is the option as well. With incandescent, it has target lock, so avalanche will be my other option in this slot, but fixed odds is a very good option as well. Moving on to the Riven Shark Tooth Ahamkaros artifact right here, we are going to be using some nice juice for this build. Unstoppable hand cannon with flame, fiber, and freeze. Totally up to you if you're using these stasis and solar weapons. Now, of course, for our solar builds this season, we got the 6 trusty dusty into these 6 right here. Flint Striker, rapid solar precision hits, or those final blows grant us radiant. Well, we are radiant. Solar weapons apply Scorch to unscorched targets, making it even better for Ignitions and Scorch and everything like that with the solar synergy this season. On top of that, we are going to be using Torch, so while we get radiant from those other options, we deal increased weapon damage to combatants affected by strand or stasis. For us, it's going to be stasis with our chill clip. Now, we got our 3 in a row right here. Heart of Flame, casting our solar super, grants nearby allies radiant, as well as increases the damage of the super for each nearby ally. We're going to be using Blade Barrage, so dungeons where you got 2 other people with you, it'll stack it pretty well. Raids even higher when you got 5 people next to you, so definitely good for the DPS side of these builds. Revitalizing Blast, those solar abilities, especially since we have the double fan grenades as well as the incendiary grenade. We're going to be able to weaken champions and bosses with finally these 2, Hail of the Storm, shattering encased targets from that stasis, deal increased damage and raise a precision, while Radiant Solar Precision Final Blows cause even more ignitions. Now, this is also where my homie Cameron helped me out, figuring out some of these little nuances that he was playing with, because he is definitely a hunter boy and a Titan boy. I basically mainly Titan. But this right here is what we went for our abilities, aspects, and fragments. Totally up to you, I guess, for your ability. If you're looking for that higher damage, go with something like this, so it deals that precision damage. Blade Barrage, good for add, clear, and damage. Golden Gun right here, totally not really that great in PvE in my opinion, depending on what you're pairing it with, I guess. Now, we're going to be using Gambler's Dodge for the ability to keep Scissors fingers crossed right there, so we can keep that timer up for the increased melee damage, with Fan Knives right here, so we can have that Scorch applied, double of them. 2 hits with this build will cause targets to ignite, so that is also super great. Incendiary Grenade heavily scorches targets, which for that synergy is why we're using that grenade. Now we're going to be using Knock 'em Down with On Your Mark, so when we dodge, Precision Final Blows or dodge grant us increased handling and reload. Very nice for the reload aspect of this. Plus we get 3 fragment slots, which is also super nice for just builds in general. With Knock 'em Down, our Blade Barrage launches more projectiles, and then Well Radiant Final Blows with our equipped throwing knife fully refund our melee energy. So why we're using the Gambler's Dodge with Knock 'em Down and our fan, so we can have the double knives just juicing targets, getting them back very quickly, causing Scorch Ignitions everywhere with that 125% increase in damage because of Ophidia Spathe. Now, we are using Ember of Ashes to apply more Scorches to target, which allows 2 of these to hit, double back to back, then you can ignite targets. Ember of Empyrean Solar Weapon or ability Final Blows expend the duration of Restoration and Radiant, with Ember of Mercy picking up those fire sprites and grant us restoration, as well as reviving allies. Defeating Scorch targets grants melee energy and creates fire sprites. Fire sprites will be used for our grenade as well, and Mercy, with Ember of Torches being last, just in case we aren't radiant from our artifact and our solar weapons. Once the artifact goes away as well, this build will still hold true to itself because of Ember of Torches, allowing us to get radiant with all of the melee attacks that we're getting. So the gameplay is absolutely nasty for this. All we're doing is basically using our Shun Shot to kill the normal adds around, adding the knife mostly to them, being able to throw even on some of those little yellow orange bars that you can just juice the damage with the double throwing knives. Use your Gambler's Dodge to get them back if you don't actually kill an enemy, but if you're getting them back, you're going to be able to throw 4 of the knife tricks at them, which almost every single enemy should be able to get defeated, besides something like a champion or something like that in super high end game. But just in any rank and file enemy pretty much is going down with these knife tricks. There's going to be additional incendiary grenades being thrown because of our fire sprites, and the juice of Blade Barrage and DPS side of this build is pretty gnarly in my opinion. I really like this build. Cameron, shout out to him for turning me on to Ophidia Spathe. The little addition of the increase in damage this season that got that buff for consecutive knife defeats is super good. So hopefully y'all can try this build out, get that Ophidia Spathe out of the vault, and get to just knifing everything, getting that crazy solar synergy, getting your super back really quickly, and juicing targets this season. So appreciate all you guys. One-Eyed Jedi on all of my socials, Discord down in the description. Don't be afraid. Like, subscribe, share the video around, hit it up so we don't miss out on any of the guides, videos, stuff like that. Again, truly appreciate you guys. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.